We believe in a God of abundance, and yet we function as if we're in a system of scarcity. It's as if we believe that God has a finite amount of time, love, and resources to give the humans he created. And so we scramble over each other for our fair share or more, even when our accumulation and overconsumption comes at the cost of others, our planet, and even our own health. We waver between trusting God to provide and looking toward other people or things for security. We like to have a backup plan, but God is honored when we go out on a limb with him. And while it's terrifying thinking how far we might fall without God's intervention on our behalf, we can be certain that he will never leave us to fall alone. A truth I've noticed from my own life is that God builds our faith gradually. He gives us small challenges to slowly build our trust muscles. This is certainly the case in the life of the prophet Elijah. He is sent to deliver a difficult message to King Ahab and then runs into the wilderness. While he's there, he has the experience of being provided for by God through ravens who bring him his food, or the widow whose jars of oil and flour never run dry. He even sees the widow's son raised from the dead. All of these experiences would have encouraged Elijah and built his faith for his terrifying mission of going to challenge the prophets of Baal. Here we see him involved in a tremendous display of God's power. While 450 other prophets cannot summon a single spark from Baal, the altar and sacrifice that Elijah has prepared and drenched with water is dramatically consumed by the fire of God. While the rest of the people of Israel appear to be hedging their bets, worshiping the gods of Baal and Asherah along with God, Elijah goes all in. Elijah goes out on a limb, displaying his trust in God and the boldness that comes with it. Imagine the consequences if God hadn't shown up. God continues to exhibit his power through Elijah, sending rain in response to his prayers on Mount Carmel. As clouds gather and rains burst forth, Elijah tucks his cloak into his belt and outruns King Ahab's chariot. Yet, despite all of his experience of God's provision and power, now we see Elijah's trust wavering when Queen Jezebel threatens to kill Elijah in retaliation for the death of the 450 prophets. After his previous display of boldness, it is hard to understand why Elijah now turns tail and runs for his life. In 1 Kings 18:4, we see him collapsed under a broom bush, asking God to let him die. But even here in his weakness and failing trust, we see God's provision once again. An angel feeds Elijah and instructs him to sleep in preparation for a 40-day journey into the wilderness. There, Elijah hears the voice of God, instructing him to go back the way he came, to anoint new kings, and to appoint Elisha as his successor. At the end of the reading, we see Elijah throwing his cloak around Elisha's shoulders. In faith, Elisha slaughters his oxen and burns his plowing equipment, and then follows after Elijah. Later, when Elijah is taken up to heaven in 2 Kings chapter 2, Elisha takes over as prophet. This week's readings are from the life of Elisha, and they will look more closely at the underlying issues behind our wavering trust in God.